Imagine waking up tomorrow to the news that a single decision made in a foreign government's office has just multiplied your net worth overnight. This isn't a scene from a Hollywood thriller. This is the palpable, nerve-wracking anticipation gripping hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are holding the Iraqi dinar, all waiting for that single event, the revaluation or the RV. For over a decade, the dinar community has been a landscape of soaring hopes and crushing delays, a roller coaster fueled by rumors, cryptic messages from gurus, and endless analysis of every political and economic tremor in Iraq. And in this high-stakes environment, few names carry as much weight or generate as much controversy as Frank26. He isn't just another voice in the crowd. To his followers, he is a beacon of hope, a dedicated analyst who has been deciphering the complex codes of the Central Bank of Iraq for years. And today, we are diving deep into his most explosive revelation yet, Iraq's meticulously crafted 10-year master plan that supposedly pinpoints the final act of this long-running financial drama. This isn't just another baseless prediction. Frank26 frames this as a structured, logical roadmap laid out by the Iraqi government itself, a countdown clock that began ticking years ago and is now, according to his analysis, in its final critical stages. The core of his argument rests on a fundamental shift in Iraq's strategy. For years, the dinar's value was artificially suppressed, a necessary evil in the aftermath of war and instability. But now, Iraq is no longer a nation begging for survival. It is a sovereign state aggressively pursuing its place on the global economic stage, and a weak, controlled currency is no longer an asset but a crippling liability. This master plan, as Frank26 interprets it, is Iraq's comprehensive blueprint to systematically remove every single obstacle that has prevented the dinar from achieving its true market-driven value, a value that is astronomically higher than its current street price. The evidence, he claims, is not hidden in secret documents, but is playing out in plain sight through a series of deliberate and interconnected economic reforms. He points to the relentless efforts by the Central Bank of Iraq to stabilize the parallel market, to close the glaring gap between the official and unofficial exchange rates. This isn't a random act. It's a surgical, pre-planned operation to create a unified, stable financial environment, a non-negotiable prerequisite for any major revaluation. Every auction result, every new banking regulation, and every statement from the bank's governor is, in his view, another piece of the puzzle falling into place, another step closer to the grand finale. Furthermore, Frank26 consistently highlights the strategic accumulation of foreign currency reserves. Iraq is sitting on one of the world's largest proven oil reserves, and the revenue from this black gold is not just filling the national coffers, it's being strategically deployed to build a formidable financial shield. This massive war chest of dollars, euros, and gold is what will back the new, stronger dinar, providing the solid foundation of trust and credibility required for the international community to accept the new rate without hesitation. It's the bedrock upon which the entire revaluation structure is being built, ensuring that when the switch is flipped, the currency won't collapse under speculation or panic, but will stand firm, backed by tangible, undeniable wealth. This is the first crucial pillar of the master plan that Frank26 urges his audience to understand. This isn't a speculative gamble, it's a nation rebuilding its financial sovereignty from the ground up, and we are witnessing the final phases of that construction. So, if you've ever wondered what it truly takes for a nation to revalue its currency, the answer is being written right now in the policy documents of Baghdad, and the implications are staggering. Now let's pull back the curtain on the second and perhaps most technologically transformative pillar of this master plan, Iraq's audacious leap into the future of digital finance. Frank26 doesn't just talk about exchange rates. He delves into the intricate wiring of Iraq's new financial nervous system. And this is where the story gets incredibly compelling for anyone trying to gauge the real-world readiness for an RV. The Central Bank of Iraq has been quietly executing a revolution, not with loud announcements, but with the steady rollout of a world-class digital banking infrastructure. Think about it for a moment. A revalued currency, potentially worth many times its current value, cannot be managed with an antiquated cash-based system. The sheer volume of transactions, the need for security, transparency, and instant global settlement would cripple an old-fashioned banking system. This is precisely why the implementation of the International Bank Account Number, or IBAN, system across all Iraqi banks wasn't just an administrative update. It was a fundamental prerequisite, a signal that Iraq was preparing its financial institutions to communicate seamlessly with the rest of the world. This move alone plugged Iraq into the global financial grid, allowing for smooth international wire transfers and corresponding banking relationships that were previously fraught with delays and suspicions. But the digital transformation goes much deeper. The government's push for electronic payment platforms like the widely adopted Iris Pay and the ambitious project for a national digital ID card are not isolated initiatives. They are interconnected threads in a larger tapestry designed to formalize the economy, to bring every transaction into the light, and to create a robust, traceable financial ecosystem. Frank26 often emphasizes that a strong currency requires a strong and transparent economy, and you cannot have transparency when a significant portion of economic activity happens in the shadows, in cash. By incentivizing and even mandating digital payments for salaries, government services, and large purchases, Iraq is systematically reducing the massive shadow economy, broadening its tax base, and creating a verifiable economic data stream that will justify the new higher value of the dinar to international institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Furthermore, the development of a real-time gross settlement system for large value transactions between banks is the financial equivalent of building a superhighway alongside a dirt road. It ensures that when the RV happens, the movement of vast sums of money between domestic banks and their international partners will be instantaneous and secure, preventing any logjams or systemic failures that could undermine confidence in the new rate. This entire digital overhaul, often overlooked by those solely focused on the exchange rate itself, is arguably the most concrete evidence that the RV is not a mere fantasy. It represents billions of dollars in years of effort invested in creating the plumbing and wiring for a modern, first-world economy. It's the silent, unglamorous work that makes the glamorous outcome possible. Frank26's analysis suggests that the timing of the RV is intrinsically linked to the full activation and stabilization of this digital framework. He points to specific deadlines set by the government for the complete transition to digital salary payments and the full integration of all citizens into the digital identity system as potential markers on the roadmap. When this digital backbone is fully operational and the majority of the economy is flowing through it, one of the final major excuses for delaying the revaluation, the lack of financial control and monitoring, will have been Chedi Xiaochu or completely eliminated. This isn't about hope. It's about observing the methodical completion of a technical checklist, and by all accounts, Iraq is checking off these boxes with increasing speed and determination, moving the nation closer to the financial reset that so many have been waiting for. So we arrive at the million-dollar question, the moment where analysis meets prophecy, and where Frank26's interpretation of the master plan culminates in a specific window of time that has sent shockwaves through the dinar community, having laid the groundwork with economic stability and a digital revolution. The third and final act of this grand strategy, according to Frank26, is all about geopolitical timing and the fulfillment of specific, long-awaited international milestones. He argues that the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar is not an isolated economic event, but the keystone in a vast arch of global financial and political realignments, and its activation is contingent upon Iraq finally being granted its full sovereign standing on the world stage. The most critical hurdle, the one that has been a persistent roadblock for years, is the removal of Iraq from the United States Chapter 7 sanctions. This isn't just a minor legal formality, it is the equivalent of Iraq being released from international financial probation. Under Chapter 7, Iraq's economic and political actions are severely constrained, its assets are vulnerable, and it operates under a cloud of distrust that prevents major international investment and full banking integration. Frank26 posits that the master plan always envisioned the RV occurring after the shackle is broken, because no nation can launch a strong, globally respected currency while still being treated as a pariah by the international community. The intense diplomatic shuttling between Baghdad and Washington, the high-level meetings focused specifically on closing the Chapter 7 file, are all seen as part of the final negotiations, the last items on the checklist before the green light is given. But the geopolitical puzzle doesn't end there. Frank26 often ties the timing to the international community's broader shift away from the US dollar as the sole global reserve currency. The rise of digital currencies, bilateral trade agreements in local currencies, and the economic expansion of the BRICS nations all create a unique and opportune moment for a resource-rich country like Iraq to introduce a new asset-backed currency into the mix. The RV, in this context, is not just about Iraq getting richer. It's about Iraq positioning its dinar as a strong regional currency that can facilitate trade independently of the dollar, thereby gaining immense political and economic influence in the Middle East. This aligns perfectly with the government's stated goals of integrating with the global economy not as a dependent, but as a partner. Now let's talk about the specific timing Frank26 has revealed for 2025. He doesn't see it as a random guess. He connects it to the culmination of the digital transformation, the expected conclusion of the Chapter 7 process, and the implementation of key clauses within the federal budget law that allocate massive funds for development projects that are mathematically impossible to execute at the current exchange rate. The budget, he insists, is a coded message, a blueprint for a post-RV Iraq. Therefore, his analysis points to a window in the latter half of 2025, a period when all these parallel tracks, the technical, the political, and the economic, are projected to converge into a single unstoppable momentum. This is the core of the revelation. The RV is not waiting for a random announcement, it's waiting for the synchronized completion of a multifaceted plan. Of course, it is absolutely crucial to step back and state that this entire narrative, while compelling and logically constructed, exists within a realm of high-risk speculation. The history of the dinar is littered with confident predictions that never materialized. Investing in the dinar remains an extremely speculative venture, not a guaranteed investment. The market is opaque, and the potential for loss is as real as the potential for gain. You must do your own deep, independent research and consult with licensed financial advisors before ever considering any kind of foreign currency exchange. This information is for educational purposes only. But if Frank26's deciphering of the master plan is correct, then we're not just watching economic reports from a distant country, we are witnessing the final painstaking assembly of a nation's financial destiny. The pieces are on the board, the clock is ticking, and the world is about to find out if the wait was truly worth it.